It's August 24th, 410 CE. For the first time in almost 800 years, an enemy army stands inside the walls of Rome, not Roman legions, but barbarian warriors sacking the city that once ruled the known world. How does the most powerful empire in history end up here? Rome didn't fall in a single day, or even a century. It eroded slowly, from the inside out, over almost 300 years. By the 2nd century CE, Rome stretched from Britain to Egypt over 2 million square miles. That size was a strength, but also a weakness. Armies took months to move. Messages crawled across the borders, and emperors debased the currency to pay for it all. Prices exploded, trade slowed, and the economy that funded the world's greatest army began to crack. Then came political chaos. In the 3rd century CE, Rome entered a 50-year stretch historians call the crisis of the 3rd century. Over 20 emperors. Most didn't die of old age. Generals seized power by force, and provinces broke away into their own states. Rome nearly collapsed here, over a century before the fall date most people remember. Emperor Diocletian stabilized things by splitting the empire into east and west. It worked for a while, but the wealthier east looked after itself, leaving the poorer west more exposed. Meanwhile, groups like the Goths, Vandals, and Huns pressed on Rome's borders. In 378 CE, the Battle of Adrianople saw one of Rome's best armies destroyed, and the emperor died on the field. Rome no longer looked unbeatable. To defend itself, Rome hired the very groups threatening it, filling its armies with Gothic and Germanic soldiers, cheaper than training Romans, but it meant Rome's defense depended on the loyalty of outsiders. That loyalty had a limit. In 410 CE, the Visigoth king, Alaric, once a Roman commander himself, turned on the city and sacked it. Rome survived that shock, but now looked breakable. The final blow came 66 years later, in 476 CE, when a general named Odoacer quietly removed the last Western Roman emperor, a teenager, and didn't bother naming a replacement. No great battle, no final stand. Just an empire so hollowed out that removing its emperor barely changed daily life. Here's what most people get wrong. Rome didn't end in 476. The eastern half, centered in Constantinople, kept going for another 1,000 years. We call it the Byzantine Empire today, though at the time, they still called themselves Roman. So what actually killed Western Rome? Not one cause, but a slow pile-up, economic strain, political instability, a weakened military leaning on outsiders, and a growing gap between a thriving East and a crumbling West. Rome didn't fall to one enemy at the gates. It fell to 3 centuries of erosion, and the barbarians who arrived that day simply watched it finally give way. Next time, how the eastern half of Rome survived for another 1,000 years, and why we almost never talk about it. Like this video, subscribe for more history deep dives, and I'll see you in the next file.